3:10, though. Senator John Madigan joins us. He's at Diamond Creek. You may have heard of the dozens of dodgy homes there in a private housing development. There's a group legal case, effectively a class action, I guess, on the boil about that, and the Senator's gone to check out what life is like for the residents. Good afternoon, John Madigan.
Hey, Raph, how are you?
Why are you there?
Well, look, I've been following this whole issue of substandard buildings that don't meet, the standards, shoddy workmanship for quite a while now, and the people out at Diamond Creek in this housing estate that you mentioned contacted me, and I promised that I'd come out. I went out today for a look, and I'm absolutely gobsmacked at the shoddy workmanship, and I for the life of me cannot work out how this thing ever got passed by building inspectors, local government, the so-called authorities that are supposed to watch out for people.
Do you think it's a broader issue? Maybe it's one-off?
No, Raph, it's part of a broader issue. I've got people right across the state who've come to me on this very same issue. And as you're well aware, John Fane's been inundated with people speaking about this, and this is an issue that's not going to go away. A home is supposed to be the great Australian dream of owning your own home is becoming the great Australian horror story when you see what these poor people in good faith buying a home have been lumbered with, and nobody seems to care or give a damn about them.
Look, 1300 222 774. I'm interested both in the issues you may have had around construction, also if you're listening, 774 ABC Melbourne, your thoughts on why we don't have a simpler solution. 1300 222 774. Senator John Madigan is from Victoria. He's part of the crossbench in the federal parliament. He and Nick Xenophon are looking at a range of building issues that managed to get that inquiry up and running. Senator, it interests me, by the time there's a tidal wave of complaints into John Fane's mornings program, those complaints come because no one else has been addressing those complaints. Why do you think there isn't a simpler way of dealing with this? Why hasn't it happened until now?
Well, Ralph, there's systemic regulatory failure, both from local government, state government and the federal government. A tidal wave of non-conforming, not fit-for-purpose building products in this country. We've got, dodgy builders, tradesmen who don't measure up, who rebirth, come back under different names, keep building things. Nobody polices it. Nobody holds them to account.
Well, a lot of people police it, though, don't they? There's the Building Authority, there's Consumer Affairs, there's VCAT. A lot of people are involved. It just doesn't. The system seems to be incredibly inefficient.
Yeah, well, incredibly inefficient, and there's no credible deterrence, Raph, to this bad, non-compliant behaviour. If like I saw today, where there was electrical fittings that were disconnected by the builders of this project out at Diamond Creek 3.5 years ago, and the water's coming in the roof, and they've had to disconnect the light fittings. They've never been hooked back up. The water goes from one room into another room, and the lady concerned has got water coming down in the bedroom, and she's got buckets there gathering the water. The doors on the front of the property aren't flashed, no warnings, and the water comes in now into the front of the room, like at the front of the art gallery in St Kilda Road.
Sounds disastrous.
There's steelwork, structural steelwork, verandas there, not hot dip galvanised, there's rusting.
Can I stop you there, Senator? Because I don't doubt that there are significant issues in those homes. However, what can a Senate inquiry do about that? These are very much local and state issues, aren't they? What can a federal senator and inquiry do?
Well, my job is to represent people. I believe we've all got a duty of care to these people, and we should be holding people to account and, getting to the bottom of this. We need to have a building ombudsman so that people have somebody they can go to who actually take on board their concerns concerns, complaints, and get them addressed and get them rectified. We need proper registration and policing of builders who do, like if you're a good builder and you're doing the work properly to the code and Australian standards, you haven't got a problem. But if you're shonky, you should be struck off and got rid of. And if you don't rectify the work, like, people make mistakes, yes, Raf, but, you go there, plug home after home after home in this complex is wrong. I doubt even the widths of the street there are compliant. There's, the council can't get garbage trucks in there, I'm told, so they have to pay for a private contractor to collect their rubbish. They're saying to the people that we doubt whether the bloody fire truck can get in there if there's a fire. The fire walls between the adjoining residents that share a common wall aren't done properly.
Let me ask you this. I don't doubt the significance of the problems. I'll take you at face value on that. How do you know it's a broader issue?
Well, because I've had people right across the state. I've lost count of the amount of people, Raph, who I've had come to me talking about these very same issues. Enough is enough. People, first home buyers, I've lost count of the first home buyers who've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars, $400,000 or $500,000 on their first home, and the things aren't even worth a fraction of what they paid for them. And to rectify them, to get them up to code, even if they're to sell them in good faith to another buyer, they can't sell them in good conscience to somebody else because they know how dodgy they are. And to cap it off, they've told these people have all been told, you need to get the place inspected. Well, what were the building inspectors doing who picked up on these places?
Look, I don't doubt
it's a disgrace, and this systemic regulatory failure. These people need to be held to account. And, this is ripping people off. Mums and dads, first home buyers, people who are downsizing in their retirement. It is absolutely wrong. There is no grey area here, Raph.
No.
This is wrong. And these people need to be held to account, clean up their mess, or get rid of them.
Well, look, I'm interested to see where your inquiry gets to. I want to get to people's calls in a moment on 1300 222 774.